Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City, and today I will be watching the trailer to 1987's Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night. You may be saying to yourself, oh my goodness, Disney made a sequel to Pinocchio? Well, no. Some other animation company did, and they thought, hey, maybe people will think that this is Disney because, people don't really bother to read the bottom line of the posters. They just see cartoons and Pinocchio and assume it's the same thing. And then Disney realized this and sued this company. I think the name is Filmation. And it was a back and forth battle. And then they determined, no, Pinocchio is public domain. It's based on the old book. Let these people, run their little scam. And they did. And it turned out to be apparently one of the worst movies of 1987. I really wasn't thinking an animated film would be that bad, but I was told numerous times that when it comes to 1987, this is at the very top of the shit list. However, I've been also told it has an amazing voice cast, so my loyalties are divided already. Without any further ado, let us watch the trailer to 1987's Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night. New World Pictures don't really recognize that. That's a troubling sign already.
Hey, you!
Who the fuck is this guy?
Me?
That's
You look
not
a lot like
Pinocchio.
a puppet I saw once. Name was Pistachio.
Oh, God.
That's Pinocchio.
No shit.
Because the world needs all the
Is he made of wood?
music
Goes to a disco?
and adventure it can get. Filmation proudly presents
Coming towards me through the moonlight was a band of, pirates.
Pinocchio
Ugh,
and the Emperor
What a
of the Night.
disgusting
I'm a
logo.
real live boy again.
All new.
When the going gets tough, the tough get buzzing.
All wonderful.
All wonderful.
Starring everyone's favorite hero.
He's
I've said it better myself.
Pinocchio, like you've never seen or heard him before.
Inside your heart,
What is this song?
where your freedom has to start.
He has a girlfriend?
This light of love will set you free.
Pinocchio, fight for his freedom
Now,
against
does he
the
have 4
Emperor
arms?
of the Night.
you're not going anywhere.
Leave them alone.
Filmation's Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night. Featuring the voices of Ed Asner,
Our fearless leader.
James Earl Jones,
You are in my domain.
Don Knotts, and Ricky Lee Jones.
Now is the light inside your heart.
Coming this Christmas. And that's no lie.
Tom Bosley, Scott Grimes, Frank Welker, Jonathan Harris. Holy shit. Okay. There is a lot going on. First of all, I can see why Disney sued. It's heavily implied that this is the Pinocchio you know and love in an all-new adventure. It's like, well, no shit, because you're all new people. None of the people who made the old adventure are remotely involved in this. Also, he goes to a disco? I remember you. Pistachio. And then it's just like, come to this disco. First of all, the animation looks like shit. It looks like a Saturday morning cheap ass cartoon that's been just ripped off something like The Adventures of Aladdin, like that kind of vibe. Secondly, he goes to a disco. He's doing a lot of dancing and cavorting. This is nighttime Pinocchio. He's already a real boy. So that trajectory is lost, and now he's sowing his oats. He's a real boy, and he's becoming a real man, a man about town, dancing with the ladies, going to the disco, and finding love with a girl puppet. Maybe he's like, I love this girl. Can someone turn me back into a puppet? And that guy's like, sure. And his power is marionette strings. So he gets turned back into a puppet, and then has to do that again, has to turn back. Geppetto is barely in this. You basically see him in the background. And then there is, when he finds that puppet girl, there is a montage of romantic wonder that normally implies, something uncouth has happened between the two. They're flying on rainbows. That's a euphemism for something. It's incredibly, incredibly bizarre. And then you think the guy with the mustache would be the Emperor of the Night, because he seems to be the main evil guy. But then at the last minute, there's this other evil guy, the actual Emperor of the Night, and he has 4 arms for zero reason, and he only seems to appear in one scene, because every time they show him, which is multiple times, it's just this one shot of him on a boat. My other question is, what happened to the whale? And maybe the whale saves him, like how in Jurassic World now, they turned the Jurassic Park T-Rex is like fully a good guy. Maybe the whale comes and eats the Emperor of the Night. The Emperor of the Night has 4 arms and 4 hands, apropos of nothing, and doesn't even seem to need them. Only seems to be pointing with one. Just really needs one. The other 3 are just dangling there. I mean, maybe he's the real marionette. I think they designed it and they were like, this looks a little too Disney. Add some more arms. That'll throw them off the scent. Also, terrible movie logo. It looks disgusting. It's not relevant. It's got that rainbow gradient that looks like Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Joe goes not a fan. I can see why this didn't do so well. For a variety of reasons now. There are also raccoons, and yet the voice cast is really pulling me in. Ed Asner as a raccoon who seems to also maybe be like the mayor of a town. Who else is in it? Tom Bosley, I read in the credits. That's how stacked the voice cast is that they didn't even mention Tom Bosley, who also in the same year did like $1 Million Mystery, a movie where he just dies in the first 5 minutes. So maybe he does that. Maybe this Pinocchio opens with Tom Bosley dying. And the premise is I've hid $1 million in 4 different places and you have to go find it. Who else is in it? Jonathan Harris is also in the credits. One of the great voices of our time from Lost in Space. He was Dr. Smith. Which is exciting. Makes me really excited. James Earl Jones is the Emperor of the Night, which is like, whoa! And then now I'm thinking he's only in the one shot. He's probably in like a minute and a half. He did like 90 seconds of work on this fucking movie. His uncle was the producer or something. He's like, just come in and we'll get it over with. And he did one reading and he's like, let's go have lunch. And then he never came back. That seems to be what happened here. The song seems horrible. This really makes you realize, if you didn't know it was 1987, you would think, maybe this is just like an old animated whatever. But then that song, whatever the hell it is, Ricky Lee Jones, I have absolutely no idea who that even is. Maybe she's the niece of the producer also. Maybe she's related to James Earl Jones. Actually, that makes sense. Anyway, beyond that, the clinch for me is that Jiminy Cricket is voiced by Don Knotts. And this should have been done years and years ago. This seems like a perfect match, despite the fact that Jiminy looks like shit in this. They did a horrible job animating it. I want to see Don Knotts voice the original Jiminy. That would have been magic beyond magic. And as shitty as this film looks, simply because of Tom Bosley, James Earl Jones, Jonathan Harris, Ed Asner, and Don Knotts. And that must have been the greatest craft service table conversation of all time. I have to see this movie in full.